14 years, over 200K invested into world-class mentorship, and close to 1,000 books read. That's what it took for me to decode reality to the degree that I finally made it click. Now, I don't say any of that to impress you because honestly, I wasted so much time, money, and resources trying to make it all work. But I do say it because when it comes to the integration between spirituality and business, I know my shit. And that's why you're here, because you also want that light bulb moment, that internal shift you're still missing where you finally see through reality clearly. Fortunately for you, you don't need to spend 14 years to get that click, and you also don't need to spend an ungodly amount on mentors like I did either if you just watched this video. I've done most of the heavy lifting for you. Spirituality and manifestation are not costumes for me, I live and breathe them. And that's why conscious entrepreneurs hire me to help them integrate spiritual mastery into pragmatic business success so that they can eradicate their revenue blocks and create the freedom they deserve. Now, I know that you know that time is money, so let's not waste any and focus. In order to master this whole game of reality, we need to go back to the beginning, to the core of what actually makes it work in your favor, so that success, confidence, abundance, and all other higher expressions of life become your default experience. Because let's be real, that's the question you've been wanting to answer. How do I get from point A to point B? How do I go from where I am now to the place where I'm living with exceptional income, unforgettable experiences, and an unshakable confidence in who I am and what I do? The answer is so simple that most people miss it. Here's the problem though. There's so much noise on the internet that you experience information overload. A million different techniques, a million different books, a million different modalities that it's hard to pinpoint what is actually getting in your way. And so what happens? You fall into analysis paralysis. Your mind fills with static, making it feel impossible to manifest your desired reality. You obsess over doing everything perfectly, which is actually evidence of a low vibrational frequency. And maybe that's been you up until this point. You've studied, you've watched the videos, maybe you've even invested in mentors, but for some reason, that click point where it all comes together still hasn't arrived. You're still confused and uncertain, and it feels like your entire path is on shaky grounds. And the truth is, it is, because you've been trying to build your tower on a weak foundation. Think of your mind, your energy, and your resulting life experience like a skyscraper. Before construction workers go vertical with the structure of the building, they spend years underground, digging deep, reinforcing steel, pouring concrete, etc. Why? Because the higher the building, the stronger the foundation needs to be. When I lived in downtown Miami, I saw this happen in real time from my window. When they were building the Aston Martin residences, it took 2 to 3 years just to lay out the foundation. But once all of that was in place, they shot up like 42 floors in less than half a year. And then they got to my floor, I was on the 41st floor, and I would hear construction workers at like 6 a.m. with drills and hammers and whatnot, and it was impossible to sleep in. It was actually super annoying. And that's the mistake that most people make. They're trying to build this massive tower, trying to manifest incredible outcomes and experiences, but they're literally standing on sand. So the first part of spiritual mastery is what I call dismantling the tower. It's the willingness to strip away what you think you've built so you can rebuild on solid ground and take your tower to the next level. And this might feel like you're taking a few steps backwards, but what is actually happening is you're setting yourself up to go 10 times higher. And in real life, this begins with a brutal self-analysis. You have to be uncomfortably honest about who you've been up until this point. You have to ask yourself, what part of me is misaligned with that next level I say I want? What am I afraid to let go of so that I can create space for what is actually meant for me? Look at your relationships. Are they draining you or inspiring you? Look at your business. Where are you inefficient? Where is your ego getting in the way? Look at your own patterns. Where are you addicted to staying comfortable, even though you say you want more? This isn't easy because in order to break through, you have to be willing to break down first. The physical plane of your existence will not reflect abundance until you fix your spiritual alignment. It is only when you sit in stillness with yourself that you begin to transmute lower frequencies of lack and stagnation into higher frequencies of clarity and confidence. And that stillness clears the space in your energetic field to go deeper into who you are and connect to the divine energy you have access to. And this process of dismantling the tower allows you to do this one specific thing: redefine your relationship to yourself and to the world. And I literally mean change your definitions, because if reality is a mirror, the way you define it is through the words you use. Language dictates your reality. Stick with me here because this is where it starts to get mind-bending. This is the part you might have to watch back a few times for it to fully click. Your entire experience of reality is nothing more than a web of meanings, associations, and stories You've told yourself about what happened and what's happening now. The specific set of definitions and verbiage you use to describe who you are, what you've experienced, and what you're experiencing now are dictating the results you're living. It's similar to what Earl Nightingale said, "A man is what he thinks about all day long." But to take this even deeper, you don't actually know what reality is. No one does. Humans are meaning-making machines. We assign meaning to every experience as we try to understand what's going on so that we can survive. After all, we're all multidimensional souls inside third-dimensional bodies, trying to make sense of the game by clinging to meanings that feel familiar. And here's where it starts to get trippy. The language you use isn't even yours. It was programmed into you. And I'm not talking about English or Spanish. I'm saying the concepts you've been taught, the words and the definitions, aren't actually real. Every single word is a symbol, it's a label, a stand-in for something you've observed with your senses. Take the word phone, for example. The word phone is just a made-up term we all use to describe the device that makes calls, scrolls through social media, text your wife, text your husband, text your friends, and so on. But instead of saying all of that, we use a mental shortcut by labeling the device phone. It's a collective agreement. When you say phone, we all know what you're talking about, but make no mistake, it's just a label. Someone at some point decided that phone was the label, and we all just went with it. Now, take this a step further. Words actually limit your understanding of reality. Humans are telepathic, energetic creatures, just like the universe itself is energetic in nature. But because we adopted words as our main method of communication, our multidimensionality atrophies over time. You think in words, you read and write in words, you talk to people in words, and that limitation shrinks the universe you can experience because the universe itself cannot be comprehended by words alone. It is far more expansive and encompassing than words can ever do it justice. Go back to the phone example. You now understand that it's just a label, but extrapolate that to everything you know. You are not your name. That was assigned to you at birth. You had no say in it. The sky isn't sky. That's just a word. Blue isn't blue. It's a label for a certain frequency of light. Take anything at all. The wall, pen, paper, bottle, countries, nations, earth. All of these are just labels. Why does this matter for spiritual mastery? Because you only know something in relation to something else. You only know who you are because you're not someone else. You only know the sky is blue because blue is not red or green or black or purple, etc. Here's the point. At the highest levels of spiritual understanding, everything is made up. Every label, every definition, every story is being continuously created by collective agreement. Humans assign meanings as heuristics to conserve mental bandwidth so we can survive, even though life itself has no inherent meaning. So what does this mean for you in a practical sense? It means reality only contains the meaning you decide to give it. And by reclaiming your sovereignty over your language, and thus over your definitions and stories, you start playing your own game of reality instead of playing the game that was given to you. You gain control over the experiences you derive from this game by walking away from old definitions. And no, it's not me just making this up, and I've never done plant medicine in my life, at least not for real. These truths came through lifetimes of contemplation and downloads of infinite wisdom, and they're also supported scientifically and psychologically. Here's one example. Your subconscious mind controls 99% of your perception of reality. Your conscious mind controls just 1%. You already know that. Right now, you're being bombarded with 11 million bits of information per second, but your conscious mind, what you can presently focus on and observe, can only process about 40 to 50 bits of information per second. That's an insane difference. Like, think about the difference between $50 and $11 million. $50 barely gets you dinner at a cheap restaurant, but $11 million can retire you for life. And so the window of perception your conscious mind gets to see is determined by your subconscious programming. Think about that. What this means is that until you redefine your past experiences by changing your definitions, stories, and meanings you assign them, until you reframe reality into one that's positive and supportive, your conscious mind will keep zeroing in on the 40 to 50 bits of information that confirm your limitations. That's how deep this goes. The real work of realigning with your multidimensional state and grounding spiritual mastery into practical reality revolves around reprogramming your subconscious mind to feel, believe, and know that reality is supporting you at the highest levels, even in the moments that feel the most painful. Because somewhere inside those 11 million bits of information per second, there's a positive meaning and association waiting to be discovered, one that will help you build your tower far greater and more expansively than you can currently imagine. This is where everything starts to shift. When you start assigning positive meanings and definitions to everything you've experienced, all of the traumas, all of the failures, all of the heartbreaks, etc., you rewrite the code of your life and you rewrite history itself. This is how you change the past. Now let's use a real world example. Let's say you had a gut-wrenching heartbreak. The feeling of betrayal was soul-shattering, and it still eats at you to this day. Now you're guarded in love, attracting incompatible partners. But with this new lens, you shift the meaning. I didn't get crushed by a heartbreak. I gained clarity about what I don't want so that I can attract more of what I do want, and the contrast between the two gave me an opportunity to align my focus. Or maybe you had a business failure. It killed your momentum and left you floored. Reframe it. I didn't fail massively. I took a bold risk and gained feedback about my strengths and weaknesses. That insight now positions me to build something far stronger with the wisdom that I've gained. From this perspective, everything is supporting you and serving you at the highest levels, even if it didn't play outright according to your mind's expectations. And why? Because the mind is limited to the meanings and associations it has programmed into the subconscious, and most of that programming wasn't even yours. But what did I say earlier? Redefine your definitions. With this paradigm-shattering understanding and updated language that reflects a game you actually want to play, your frame of reality shifts. You start to experience positive life tracks, more abundance, more synchronicity, more flow. It becomes impossible to lose when you're playing your own game. Redefining the language you use to describe your reality is like taking the old game cartridge out of your Nintendo Switch and replacing it with a new one. A game that's more expansive, more exciting, and actually aligned with your soul's blueprint. And of all the definitions that must be recoded if you're serious about embodying your highest frequency, there's one above all others that changes everything. Until you are rich, you are not truly spiritual. There is no nobility in poverty. Anyone who tells you money doesn't matter, don't believe them. It is incredibly naive and honestly narcissistic to think that having money and lots of it is somehow wrong. In fact, the biggest spiritual bypassers are the ones who sit on their pedestal of enlightenment and tell others that money is the root of all evil. It's not. First of all, that's a misquote. And second, that's just an excuse spiritual people use to justify why they're still broke. Money is nothing more than a mirror. It's a reflection of who you are and how powerfully you create value for the world. And just like with life, money only carries the meaning you assign to it. So if you choose to attach a negative association to money, to call wealth bad or undesirable, you absolutely can. But that choice will limit your reality, and it certainly won't expand the lives of the people that you love most. From the highest levels of vibration, you still have to acknowledge this. As multidimensional as you are, you incarnated into a third-dimensional game. That's just the truth. And like it or not, money is one of the main currencies of this game. So it is actually spiritually misaligned to pretend that money doesn't matter or that rejecting it somehow makes you better than others. Because here, at this stage of collective evolution, money is simply an exchange of energy. We use it as a tool, a unit of value, a way to trade our products and services with each other. And here's the paradox. The higher your vibration rises, the easier money flows. Because when you truly access your multidimensional state, this 3D plane becomes child's play. You become more resourceful, more creative, more attuned to your imagination, able to visualize and magnetize opportunities that generate income with ease. That's all business really is. It's an exchange of value. And as a conscious being, because you've done the inner work to deepen your connection to God, your ability to create and deliver value far exceeds those that are still disconnected. Entrepreneurship at the highest levels is applied spirituality, meaning that your entire entrepreneurial journey is one big continuous experimentation in manifestation. There's a certain magic to this because in order to be successful, in order to experience a physical reality that is abundant and fruitful, you must dig deep and search within yourself. You have to believe that your visions and goals are yours before you even see them in real time. You have to be patient with your manifestations, trusting that all of the work that you put in will eventually attract the realization of your desires. And the byproduct of that entire inner mastery is an outer mastery that reflects a surplus of financial abundance. But most spiritual people like to complicate things. They attach guilt to money and demonize people who have it. They point fingers at the wealthy, calling them greedy, while bypassing the fact that the universe gives them the same tools and opportunities as everyone else. They underestimate what it actually takes to create wealth, the courage to fail, the willingness to persist in a vision no one else can see, the faith to continue until the unseen becomes seen. And then, when your vision finally manifests, they condemn you for being greedy, never realizing that truly wealthy people are often the most generous souls you'll ever meet. And let me be clear on this, when I say rich, I don't mean you need to be a billionaire. I mean having enough financial abundance that you never worry about money ever again. Enough that you can buy what you desire without anxiety. Live where your soul feels most alive. Spend time only with those who uplift you. Take your loved ones on adventures, and pour fully into your creations with a peaceful heart and mind. That is freedom, the ultimate spiritual luxury. And you will never know that level of spiritual freedom if you hide behind a spiritual ego, pretending that you're somehow above money. If you're broke right now, that's okay, because being broke and being poor are totally different frequencies. Being broke is temporary, poverty is forever. If you're struggling right now, but you're doing everything you can with what you have, you're already rich. It just takes a little bit of time before your goals manifest. But if you throw your hands in the air and you say shit like, "I see beyond the illusion, man," while avoiding responsibility for your creation, you're not enlightened. You're trapped in a spiritual ego, the most deceptive form of poverty there is. Money buys back your time, the most finite resource you have. It gives you the freedom to invest in what inspires you, to give back in ways that are aligned with your heart. It clears the mental bandwidth so you're not drained by survival. It expands your access to ideas and opportunities that help you fulfill your highest desires. And remember, money itself is neutral. It's just numbers on a screen and pieces of paper. It's an energetic entity responding to the meanings you assign to it. When you shift that meaning and declare that wealth is divine, you stop chasing money and money starts chasing you. Being rich is not bad, it's your birthright. Having more doesn't make you greedy. It means you exercised your resourcefulness and courage better than your competition. The universe isn't unfair, it's simply a stage, a simulation that allows conscious creators to bring their genius into form and to make God visible through their creations. We're in a new era of conscious entrepreneurs and creators that are as aggressive about their financial success as they are about their spiritual cultivation. And you, as a conscious soul, are being called forward into an experience of abundance of all kinds so that you can help raise the collective awareness of the universe through your unique experience. And the reason that I'm hitting so hard on this money conversation is because I've talked to thousands of people throughout the years, and particularly because of the space that I'm in, I've seen firsthand how stressed and anxious people are about it. They feel like they never have enough. Everything is always getting more expensive. Bills keep piling up. And so they turn to manifestation techniques, hoping for a breakthrough, something that will finally give them the space to breathe. Because money is like oxygen. When you have a surplus of it, you don't even notice it. But when you lack it, you suffocate. And many people are suffocating, stuck in cycles of scarcity because of their negative relationship with money. They carry deep fears and limitations around it. They're afraid to charge higher prices for their products and services because they think no one will pay for them. They're afraid to spend it, not realizing that hoarding what little they have actually sabotages them from investing in the very opportunities that would multiply their wealth. They pedestalize money, giving it way too much importance, believing it's hard to attract, or that it's this elusive creature that they can never get their hands on. But what they don't realize is that there is so much currency in circulation, more than they can even comprehend. And if they just shifted their perception, if they could realize that abundance is infinite, and that all it takes is claiming their small fraction of that flow, they would have complete freedom to live life fully on their terms. And so ultimately, the definition shift here is simple. Give money low importance and a positive meaning. That single change collapses the invisible walls around the maze of manifestation and frees you from the constant chase of trying to get more of it. In fact, this is the ultimate definition change you must give to everything you desire in your life, every manifestation, the love you desire, the business success you're building, the friends and comrades that feel deeply aligned, the physique you want to sculpt, the adventures that bring you the most joy. All of it is right at your fingertips. And with just a few internal shifts that align with your most powerful frequency, you begin to physically experience your highest manifestations. That's the game of reality when it's played at the level of the master. It's both wildly pragmatic and effortlessly spiritual at the same time. Because remember, manifestation isn't about getting something or getting somewhere. It's about aligning so deeply with the version of reality in which you already have the thing you want, to the degree that you no longer need it in order to feel high vibrational about yourself or your life. And once this frequency is embodied, everything clicks.